Now, without further ado, speaking of looking after our planet, Bellavista Resources has just listed on the ASX. They've raised $6.5 million in their IPO. It's a battery metals explorer, but it has some big name shareholders, including Capricorn Resources Exec Chairman Mark Clark and Bellevue Gold Managing Director Steve Parsons, who's here. They hold 20% between them, so something must be up. Give us the lowdown. Please welcome the Executive Director, Michael Wilson. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks to Nicholas, for putting this on and inviting us along. Now, look, a few drippy eyelids in the room, so I'll try and keep this short. We'll do a deal. So if you guys look up BVR after this, I'll keep it short and sweet. Cautionary statement, read that later. So get this thing to work. As mentioned, we are new kids on the block, and that's in a literal term. We listed less than 2 weeks ago. Now, one of the interesting backstories here is our prospectus opened up in early April. It was open for between 9 and 9:30 on the first day of its opening, and we were fully subscribed for the $6.5 million. So it'd be fair to say that we've got a lot of support for what we're doing, and a lot of that comes due to the people that are behind the business, and then we've got some wise heads within the business. So we might be the new kids, but there's certainly some wise heads running this. I think also it's important is that mantra of what we're trying to achieve here. So it's creating or delivering shareholder value, but using well-executed exploration, be capital efficient, and ultimately that's where we can deliver back to shareholders. Board and management, I'll let you guys look through that at your leisure, but once again we've got accountants, corporate, we've got myself as a 25-year veteran rock licker, and we've also got engineers and other corporate support there. That means that the business is very well, the stewardship is very strong, and then we have Natalia, our exploration manager, a very enthusiastic Brazilian who was heavily involved in the Bellevue discovery, and she's kindly come to the greener pastures of battery metals and has joined us as the exploration manager. This slide's actually quite important for junior companies, and again it's about getting that strategy right at the start. And for us, it's that little image on the right: scale, it's prospectivity and grade. Now, if you can sit in the sweet spot between those three, then you've got a red-hot chance of delivering value for your shareholders. And below that, you see, when looking for elephants, you must look at elephant country. And I think you'll see with our projects, we are in one of the last frontiers of elephant country in Australia, and certainly in Western Australia, and that's really part of the story. So just to put this into context, our project sits in the Gascoyne province. Now, the Gascoyne province is about the same size in area as Victoria. Now, our project there, it's about 130 kilometres of strike. So that's effectively from here all the way down to Evans Head. So we control a huge tract of land, and within that we have quite an advanced early stage project in the Brumby project. So that's our main project, our starter project, but around that we've built a portfolio that continues right across the top of the Edmund Basin. The Edmund Basin is known at the moment because it also on the southern side of the Edmund Basin is Galena's Abra mine, which is coming into production as we speak. As you can see in that image, we've also got some new neighbours up to the northwest corner there. Teck has just arrived on the scene in the last few months, and again we haven't seen Teck in WA for many years, so it's actually intriguing to see where they are and why they're there. Perhaps I'll come knocking. The Brumby project. Now again, I was attracted to this as an explorer from the simple point of view is this was drilled back in 1997 by the then CRA. Now, CRA at this time was about to turn into Rio Tinto. And if you don't know the history of that, CRA was a multi-commodity business, Rio Tinto very much a copper iron ore business. This was a base metals project. Now, it wasn't quite advanced enough to make it into the Pasminco spin-off, and so in fact it just disappeared into the annals of the WA library, not to be seen for many, many years. Thankfully, we had some clever geologists in the background that, managed to locate a few reports whilst doing some studies, and this one's popped out as being a really interesting part of the world. Effectively, whilst it's hard to see scale on things, that's 6 kilometres by 1.6 kilometres, the lines on that map. Those holes are drilled about 1 kilometre apart. So just for scale, Abra, the deposit to the south of us, is about a 500 square metre deposit. So we could actually sit within the drill grid that this was drilled. Now, what's the other important thing here is the scale. Now, this is what we call a SEDEX deposit. They're massive. Think Mount Isa, MacArthur River, Century. Very, very big deposits. And so you don't have to go and drill these at 50 metre spacing. You drill them at 500 metre spacing or 1,000 metre spacing to discover them. And then once within those, you're looking for the grade. Now, what this has at the moment is some fantastic wide widths. Be fair, the grade's a little bit on the low side, but that's our opportunity, and I'll explain that in the next slide. In the past, well, when CRA drilled this, they effectively drilled it from surface. So they were targeting a unit that they picked up with some geochemistry, and they started drilling down the plunge of it and down the dips. And what they hit was consistently a 20 to 30 metre wide zone of around 2 and a bit % zinc equivalent, but it was consistent right across the system. However, they drilled, I think it was 29 holes across the system. Only 13 of those made it to depth. So there's a bunch of holes there that didn't quite make it, and what we like to call pre-collars, and we'll go back in there and put some diamond tails on those holes and get to depth and actually locate the system. The other thing we don't believe has happened is they haven't hit the best part of the system. Typically in SEDEX, you want to be next to the edge of the basin, not on the quiet outer section. So what we're expecting to see is the further we go north, and in this slide northwest, we should see things thicken up, and we should see the grade increase as you get the influence of fluids coming from below. This is captured really nicely in this slide, and a bit of context here too is the little insert on the top right there is Rumble's Irahidi project. So they've got a market cap of a bit over 300 million, and so put that into context with us at around, I think it's EV of 14 today, and our project Brumby sitting below. So this is the story right here is we don't believe that CRA necessarily hit the best part of the system. We believe what we are seeing in the rocks so far, and we're literally on our journey, so bear with us on that, but we've got a lot of work ahead of us. But we expect to see grades improving to the north and to the west, and as part of that, a very big system emerging. Beyond that, well, that's sort of 20 to 30 kilometres of the strike of the system. We've got another 80 around that. So same rock, same style, potential abras at depth right across that system. We've also got some nickel PGEs emerging. This is an area that Geoscience Australia had identified as having similarities to the Nova Bollinger style of mineralisation. So we've got that up our sleeve. And finally, there's another one that's just emerged, a uranium target. Now, this is quite interesting, and again, a good backstory. So, in 1981, a young geologist by the name of Julian Hanna was writing a report about a bunch of rock chip samples that were taken up in this part of the world for GeoPico. And of those rock chips, there is significant numbers. And we've been out on the ground, so we did actually visit this in our pre-IPO side visit. The thing lights up like a Christmas tree. So there is something quite strong in the uranium front there. We don't know what it is yet, pardon me, but we're certainly excited about the scale of it. We're talking 35 kilometres of strike. It's got some grades. The average grade of deposits around the world at the moment is around 400 ppm. We've got rock chips around 0.12%. So super exciting. It's probably not our key focus yet because we've got Brumby, but we'll certainly build this one up over the next little bit. Quick little slide on the nickel PGEs. Again, what this is about is just the right rocks in the right location. So nobody's ever touched these with a drill hole. So it's very green fields, but it's a nice one to have within the portfolio. There's been a few interesting hits in the area of late, and certainly happy to have those in our ground going forward. So what's important for the room? Well, news flow. We'll do what we say we're going to do. We've got the money to do it. We've got the backing of some serious, gold bugs, but they're looking at us as being their battery and base metal exposure, and certainly very lucky to have those wise minds to tap into. And really it's going to be a clear path of news flow, exploration, right the way through for these first 2 years. We're putting 17,000 metres of drilling into this over that period. It starts off with a 2,000 metre diamond program, as mentioned, into those previous holes that didn't quite make it, and hopefully that'll start within the next couple of weeks. We're actually meeting with the drilling contractor, DDH1, on Friday. So that's the story. It's short and sweet, as I promised, but again, keep an eye on us. We've come on fairly strong for the choppy market that it is, but it'd be fair to say that we're only just starting the journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Oh, you'll be their new best friend, Michael, because it's lunch is up next. So thank you for that, and a very interesting story, and as you said, you've got a couple of very smart people backing you, so well done. Uranium, very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have lunch now. It's on the tennis courts. You're not playing tennis, you're having lunch.